Throughout history, warriors have honed their skills. From the vast plains of ancient Persia to the icy battlefields of the Roman Republic, humans have always devised ways to defeat their enemies. Yet some warriors are remembered not for their brute strength or ferocity, but for their expertise with a weapon so simple, so refined, so incredibly powerful that its legacy endured through the ages. These were the Balearic slingers, warriors capable of striking down a foe with a stone from 300 yards away, men who trained from childhood to master a tool of war that many would overlook. This is the art of slinging. Imagine for a second you're a kid in the ancient world. Not just any kid, though. You're a Balearic kid. And what does that mean? Well, it means your childhood is going to be a little different. We're not talking wooden swords and play fights here. We're talking about a life where learning to use a sling isn't just a game, it's about survival. These kids, some as young as 5 or 6, were expected to hit their food with a sling before they were allowed to eat it. Think about that for a second. You're hungry, your stomach's growling, but that bread, that piece of fruit, it's hanging from a tree limb just out of reach, and the only way you're getting it is to knock it down with a rock. No pressure, right? This constant pressure, this need to master the sling just to eat. That's what created some of the most accurate and deadly soldiers the ancient world had ever seen. Now you might be thinking, it's just a sling. How dangerous could it really be? Well, let's talk about the ammunition. These weren't your kid brother's pebbles they were launching. We're talking lead bullets, specially made, some weighing over a pound. These things were like mini cannonballs, and when they were whipped out of a sling at speeds up to 150 miles an hour, well, let's just say you didn't want to be on the receiving end. Shields were shattered, helmets were caved in, bones were turned to dust. Archaeologists are still finding these lead bullets embedded in skeletons, centuries after they were fired. Imagine the terror of seeing a wave of those things coming at you. It would be like facing down a hailstorm of death. But the Balearic slingers were more than just brute force. They understood something about warfare that's as true today as it was 2,000 years ago. Terror is a weapon, and they used it masterfully. Imagine, if you will, the sound of hundreds of these lead projectiles whistling through the air. Some of them, they designed them specifically to make noise, to whine and scream as they flew. They'd carve messages into the lead, insults, threats, even images of scorpions. Can you imagine? You're about to face these guys in battle and you see these messages of death flying towards you. The psychological impact, it would be devastating. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but these guys weren't just one-trick ponies. They didn't just have one sling, they had 3. Each one a different size, each one designed for a different range. They had a long-range sling they'd wear around their waist, a mid-range sling they'd hold in their hand, and a close combat sling they'd wrap around their head. Can you imagine the skill it took to master all 3? To judge the distance, the wind, and know exactly which sling to use and when. These guys were like walking arsenals, able to adapt to any situation on the battlefield. Chapter 5. Hannibal's Secret Weapon. And it wasn't just some small-time armies that recognized their talent. Hannibal Barca, one of the greatest military minds in history, he knew the value of these warriors. During the Punic Wars, he had 2,000 Balearic slingers under his command, and he used them brilliantly. They were his opening act, his shock troops. They'd rain down a storm of lead on the Roman legions, softening them up, breaking their formations, before the main Carthaginian army even made contact. Think about that. Hannibal, the man who marched elephants over the Alps, he considered these slingers to be one of his most valuable assets. He even went so far as to personally oversee their protection, to make sure they weren't needlessly wasted in battle. That's how important they were to his strategy. Chapter 6. Pirate Allies and Roman Conquest. After the Punic Wars, the Balearic slingers, their reputation for deadly accuracy, it didn't go unnoticed. Some of them, they turned to piracy, preying on Roman shipping lanes. Imagine Roman galleys, those mighty warships, being harassed by these guys in small boats, pelting them with stones. And the Romans, to their credit, they were smart enough to learn from their enemies. They saw the effectiveness of the slingers firsthand, and they eventually incorporated them into their own army as auxiliary troops. They even started training their own legionaries in the art of slinging. It's a testament to how deadly and effective these warriors truly were. Chapter 7. The melted lead myth. The fear these guys inspired, it's almost legendary. Ancient poets, they used to write about how the slingers could fire their lead bullets so fast that they'd actually melt in mid-air. Now, obviously, that's not physically possible, but the fact that people believed it says something about the kind of awe these warriors inspired. The reality is, the lead bullets, they would deform on impact. They'd splatter and spread almost like molten metal. So you can see how the myth got started. But even without the exaggeration, the truth about the Balearic slingers is impressive enough. They were masters of their craft, warriors who could kill you with a flick of the wrist, and their legend continues to fascinate us to this day. Outro echoes of the sling. The Balearic slingers, these masters of a forgotten art, they weren't just warriors, they were artists of destruction. They took a simple weapon, a tool as old as mankind itself, and they perfected it, honed it into an instrument of war that could rival any blade or spear. Their story is a reminder that sometimes the deadliest weapons aren't the most complicated, but the ones wielded with the most skill, the most precision, and in the case of the Balearics, the most brutal efficiency. They were the silent killers of the ancient world, and their legend echoes down through the centuries, a testament to the power of human ingenuity, even when it's channeled towards the art of war.